Section 4.3, Introduction to Percent. Rewrite the percent as a fraction in lowest terms. Percent means per centi or per 100. So we can simply rewrite 65% as 65 over 100. At this point, we need to reduce this fraction. So the question is, what can I divide evenly into a 65 and a 100? Because the first one ends in 5 and the second one ends in a 0, we know they are both divisible by 5. So I will divide both of them by 5. 65 divided by 5 is 13. 100 divided by 5 is 20. Since the only thing that I can divide evenly into both a 13 and a 20 is a 1, it is simplified. Excuse me. So we want to change the percent to a fraction or mixed number, simplify. So now we write 81 over 100. Now, the only thing that I can divide into both an 81 and a 100 is a 1. Now, another way of doing this instead of the GCF, the greatest common factor, which the previous problem had a 5, is we could do a prime factorization of both, okay? So what I could do is I could, let me do a prime factorization example. We're going to have to do this later anyway. Prime numbers are numbers divisible by 1 and themselves, so prime numbers would be things like 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, right? So I can divide 2 by 2 and 1. I can divide 3 by 3 and 1. I can divide 4 by 4, but I can also divide 4 by 2, so it's not in here. I skipped it. Moving on to 5, I can divide 5 by 5 and 1. I can divide 6 by 2 by 3. No. So I don't include 6. So prime numbers, here's a list. It's incomplete. They're an infinite number. Next after 17 would be 19, 23. It goes on forever, right? So what I do is, if I'm trying to do the prime factorization of this, I can try to divide it by 2. 81 divided by 2, it gives me 40.5. That's not an even number. Then I can try by 3. That would give me 27. I can try 3 again. That will give me a 9. Try 3 again. That would give me a 3. Try 3 again. I get a 1. I'm done. Prime factorization of 81 is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, what about 100? Can I divide 100 by 2? First prime number. Yes, it gives me a 50. Can I divide 50 by 2? Yes, it gives me 25. Can I divide 25 by 2? No. Watch the next one, 3. 25 divided by 3? Nah, not even. 25 divided by 5? Yes, gives me 5. 5 divided by 5? Yes, gives me a 1. I'm done. Prime factorization of 100 is 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. So 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. Now, if any of these common factors in the top and the bottom, if any of them were the same, we would just cancel them out. So I just confirmed that, in fact, I can't simplify this. I don't have any 3s on the top and the bottom. I don't have any 2s on the top and the bottom. I don't have any 5s on the top and the bottom. So there's nothing in the top and the bottom that will cancel out. So I can't simplify this. You just end up with 81 over 100. So one way to do it is GCF. The first way we did it, find the GCF, divide both the numerator and the denominator. If the only thing you divide into the numerator and the denominator is 1, it's simplified. Other way to do it is do prime factorization. If you can't cancel anything out in the numerator and the denominator, it's simplified. I realize the second way is way more complicated, but if the math gets ugly enough, this will actually work better. Okay, so let's try another one. Okay, rewrite the percent as a fraction, lowest terms. 12% is the same as 12 over 100. Okay, well, what can I divide both into a 12 and a 100? Well, I can divide them both by 2, right? They're both even numbers. I can divide them both by 2. That gives me 6 over 50. Can I divide them both by anything else? Yes, by 2. All right, by 2, by 2. And that gives me a 3 over 25. Now, I just wanted to prove something that, let's say I didn't find the GCF right off the bat. The real way to do this would just be to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 4, right? That would actually be the GCF. I just wanted to prove the point that as long as you're chipping away with any common factor other than 1, you can just chip away at it, and eventually you will end up with the same answer. So the bottom one's actually the better way of doing it. You just find the greatest common factor. You divide both the numerator and the denominator by the greatest common factor, and you're done. One step, bam. But let's say you find any common factor other than 1. Well, you can chip away with it. It'll take more steps, right? In that case, it took 2 steps, but you still ended up eventually with the correct answer. So if you can't figure out the greatest common factor right off the bat mentally, that's okay. If you can find out any common factor other than the 1, you can start chipping away at, and eventually you will end up with a simplified fraction. Okay, let's try the next one. Next one is 45%, which is the same as 45 over 100. They both end in 5 and 0, so they're both divisible by 5. Okay, so let's divide both these by 5. 45 divided by 5 is 9. 100 divided by 5 is 20. and 9 over 20 is it. The only thing I can divide both into a 9 and a 20 evenly is a 1, so that is the simplified form of that. Okay, what about 32%? Well, that's the same as 32 over 100. Why can I divide both into a 32 and 100? Well, they're both obviously divisible by 2 because they're even numbers. You could start there, or you could try to actually find right off the bat the greatest common factor. So let's see about 4. Greatest common factor of 4. All right, 32 divided by 4 is 8, and 100 divided by 4 is 25. So it looks like 8/25 is the correct answer.